boop, beep boop, beep boop. A Just the Network production. Beep boop boop. That sounds good. Take it away, me. Hello, Gistners, and welcome to Just the Gist. I'm your host, Rosie Waterland, and in this podcast, I tell entertaining stories about anything and everything, but with just the gist of what you need to know to help you sound impressive at a dinner party. Gisting in every week is the JTG production team and you guys, the Gistners. So, let's get gisting. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I don't know why I said it like that. Hello.
Hello.
That was like how Mrs. Doubtfire says hello just after her face is in the cake. Hello. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. I'm still awkward at starting. With me this week, James.
That's me.
Professionally gisting in. Oh, that was so chipper.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's me.
And Haley. Haley Stabley.
Oh, I haven't prepared a that's me.
That's me.
I'm her.
Like one of those, you know, at the start of The Love Boat or like old shows from the 70s where the opening credits, like they look at the camera and like point.
Yeah.
I love those.
Oh, like
one
that
of those.
dance. You know that dance with those kids? They say like all their names in one go.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
redid it,
And then they're like, whoever, and let's do it right now.
All right,
Ready?
Housewives intro.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
Ready?
can we all like write a tagline?
Ready? Oh, James has the best Housewives tagline for me because we were watching Salt Lake City while we were doing our Big Aussie Lap in our camper van, and I really hate like flies and bugs, and I would get really obsessed, which is like when you're doing a Big Aussie Lap in a camper van. I would get very
Big part of
obsessive
your life, yeah.
about the flies. I would go through like half a can of fly spray a day, and James was like, you know what your tagline would be, Rosie? And I was like, what? And he goes, I'm Rosie, fly on the wall, not on my watch. And he was like, you're like a sort of dynasty like level princess heiress of a like fly spray company.
Yes.
Fly on the wall, not on my watch.
Okay, we need to all have one.
Also with us today is assistant podcast producer Pocket, who's sitting on his little bed, I think.
Yep.
And hopefully won't make any
Chomping
noise.
something.
Chomping
Or shit.
something. Or shit. He might shit. He's 10 weeks old and he's reaching the toilet about 75% of the time, which Haley pointed out to me before is about on par with how often I make it there too. I can't wait to do the Rosie's version of the Louis XV anal surgery.
Because there have been updates.
Oh yeah, if you're a new Gisner, mate,
Strap in.
yeah, strap in. There's a saga with my butt, and we go there.
It's a five-parter.
But for today, it's a five-parter. But for today, I'm very excited about this one. Okay, here we go. In 2012, we were first I don't know why I said that so. In 2012.
In a world.
Okay, in 2012, we were first introduced to an adorable, sassy little diva of a girl when she uttered the following iconic words on the TV show Toddlers and Tiaras. A dollar makes me holler, honey boo boo child.
Yes.
It's been 13 years since that phrase became an undeniable part of the cultural zeitgeist, at least mine. And that little girl is now 20 years old.
Incorrect.
20 years old.
I'm going to need to see sources.
And she has literally packed more drama into that time than most people do in their entire lives. And I want to tell you today where she is now. I want to tell you what happened to the family that was made famous on their much-loved and much-maligned reality shows. This, dear listeners, is just the gist of Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah.
AKA
A dollar makes me holler.
A dollar makes me holler, aka Alana Thompson. She does have a
real
real
name.
name. She does have a real name.
None of them use their real names though.
I mean,
Sugar Bear, Pumpkin.
Pumpkin, Sugar Bear,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Chickadee.
Chubbs, Chickadee.
Chubbs got real hard done by, huh?
Chubbs.
Imagine getting Chubbs.
I know, but what do you guys remember of the show?
I don't know this show at all.
Oh.
I tried to make
And
James.
so nothing makes sense what you're saying.
How-
There's random words.
Yeah.
Chicken beer, chicken wing, chicken wing.
Chicken chocolate. So James has never. I loved Honey Boo Boo when it came out. I was obsessed with her, with the show. It fell off my radar when things happened in the show that we'll get to, and it stopped airing. But James had never seen any of it, and I wanted to watch it with him. I couldn't find it anywhere, but there are some episodes still up on YouTube. And so I think we watched like the first few, and you got a little bit into it, but James doesn't really know. We couldn't find any more episodes.
How have you been relating on any kind of deep level without Honey Boo Boo as a scaffolding?
I don't know.
All I know is I just remember seeing her on a talk show, and she just seemed like a really bratty kid, and I was like, oh.
No, you've got that so wrong.
Do I?
People did say at the time, like I've done a lot of research for this episode, and there are some interviews at the time with, it was some Tonight Show that she did, like Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon or
one of the Jimmys.
Conan or one of the Jimmys, or back then it was still Conan, but she did an appearance and was apparently like a nightmare, like off when the cameras were up. Like it was just hard to wrangle her. She was extremely hyperactive.
Yeah, she's drinking go-go juice.
Yeah, she's drinking go-go juice, which we'll get to. At the time, the show became this like mega cultural like talking point, and there are people who really loved it or really hated it and did hear bits and pieces about how the family was a nightmare and she was a nightmare, and then other people like, no, I love them, they're real. And yeah, it kind of that's what, like, I would say you probably know of it all, James. So this whole thing starts in 2012 when a little girl named Alana Thompson appears on TLC's Toddlers and Tiaras. James, do you know what that show is? Or have you heard of it?
Yeah. It's like a beauty pageant for babies.
Well, for little girls, like JonBenet Ramsey is the first thing everybody thinks of, like those kind of little girl beauty pageants, which are like very big, particularly in the South in America. It's like a lot of people have issue with them and talk about how they're disgusting or they disagree with the premise or whatever, but I've read a lot of people, involved in the pageants or who grew up in those areas talk about how they're a really important cultural part of what they do, like as kids and people. And
from what I've seen, it depends on the people. Like some people take it to a gross level.
Oh, of course they do. But I think generally it is like it's a very standard cultural thing that a lot of these people do. But of course, there are some people for whom it's like
I feel like
really
the standard
gross
way of doing it is just performing and like grooming and stuff, and that's all. That's fine. But then if you take it to a disturbing level, or you start making the kid's whole identity like, you're only what you look like, and if you got Grand Supreme Princess is like the biggest. There are parents who are upset. They invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in like the costumes, in like fake teeth because their girls' like front teeth fall out, called flipper. Like they wear a flipper. Like they dye their hair blonde. They do, like, this has been around for a long time. And then I think it became like kiddie pageants became like really well known internationally when JonBenet Ramsey was killed, and we're going to do just the gist on that. All positive connotations,
and then,
really.
Nothing problematic at all.
And then I think it was, Toddlers and Tiaras made it like quite a big like thing that people followed. Yeah, it was like a reality show just each week following different pageants and different little girls in these pageants, and often their mothers were the more interesting.
It's like Dance Moms.
Well, it was the mothers are the more interesting characters on this show. So it was on an episode of Toddlers and Tiaras that we first saw Alana Thompson, and she uttered the iconic words, "A dollar makes me holler, but honey boo boo child." So Alana stood out on Toddlers and Tiaras because she was very different to what a lot of the little girls who'd been on this show before, and also their mothers. Like Alana's mother, June, was very different to a lot of the mothers that had been on this show before. Like often, because it costs a lot of money to be in pageants like this, often it's very snooty, wealthy like mothers who are putting their little girls in these things. Think of the movie Little Miss Sunshine, how they turn up and she's just, the whole family's kind of clueless and she's just like wanting to do her fun little thing and she doesn't really get it. Like, she was kind of like, Alana was kind of like that, although June was investing like some money in hopefully getting Alana to like win. It wasn't like she was turning up like the way the girl does in Little Miss Sunshine, but she still was very different to the other girls. I think, first of all, she didn't look like a typical pageant girl because she was like a chubbier kid. But everyone goes on like she was like, it was just unheard of for there to be like fat little girls in a pageant. She was like, she was a 6-year-old with some puppy fat.
Yeah.
Like I think members of her family, her mother in particular, were very overweight, and that became a talking point. But like she was just like a little chubby, but her chubbiness actually made her adorable because she has this cherub face and like her like round cheeks and these blonde ringlets. She looks like the human version of a cherub angel.
Yeah.
She does. And like June has said in interviews since that she started putting her in pageants because people would literally stop them on the street and say to her like, that is the most perfect looking toddler I've ever seen. Like just Shirley Temple level cuteness.
I feel like they also played into the whole chubby thing a lot as well. Like
they
that
did.
Cowgirl outfit thing and, you know, smushing a tummy and part of
when
they made it a thing.
When they realised how like popular leaning into their like redneckness and the chubbiness and all that, they really leaned into it. So in her very first ever appearance on television, in her episode that she appeared on of Toddlers and Tiaras, it was actually very cute. Their opening scene is June, the mother, and Alana and her dad, Sugar Bear, and they're having a play fight with a whole bunch of like rolls of paper towel because there are like 5,000 rolls of paper towel in the house because June's a couponer. She's a couponer, which is kind of like a hoarder. But and so they kind of immediately open on this family that is very different from other families on Toddlers and Tiaras. They're just like throwing all this paper towel around like they're having a snowball fight. And it's all very like, this family doesn't care and it's fun. And the very first thing you hear is June. And she goes, I'm June. I'm known as the coupon queen. And my daughter, Alana, is known as the diva beauty queen. and then this is when we cut to Alana, whose very first line ever on television was this. I'm Alana, I'm 6, and I'm a beauty queen. It's so great. And then just in that one interview with her where she's sitting like doing a talking head, she says things like, the other girls must be crazy if they think they're going to beat me, honey boo boo child. And then she's like, I'm a superstar because I do pageants. And then she goes, I want to win because I want to win money. And that moment's important because when she says, I want to win because I want to win money, that moment, you hear the producers in the room off screen just crack up laughing. And it wasn't very common for them, I don't think if ever, to break the fourth wall on Toddlers and Tiaras. But she was just so unexpected and hilarious. And producers in interviews since then have said like that moment where we were interviewing her and she was just saying all this crazy stuff, we could not stop laughing. And so we ended up just keeping it in because like we couldn't really get a take where you couldn't hear us laughing in the background.
But where does a 6-year-old like get all that from? Like,
well,
is it all just she's been scripted these lines the whole time?
No, I don't think she scripted the lines. I think they're just a very funny, unique family. She is a kid with a lot of character and a lot of personality.
And a lot of older siblings as well.
Yeah.
I think helps.
She has all older siblings. We'll get to the whole family tree in a second. But in the episode, we see June also yelling out like one of her famous lines, which is, go Smoochie, when she's up on stage.
Hold on, something, go Smoochie. Go Smoochie.
Smoochie, go Smoochie.
I am loving all the facial expressions.
Go Smoochie.
Yeah, you must watch this on YouTube to see the full performance experience.
Well, I did want to play you a little clip of the first like minute of the show, but also,
don't need to. You've just
but also what is like probably the most infamous part of their first appearance on this episode of Toddlers and Tiaras is that June openly admits to, and they film her giving Alana what she calls go-go juice, which is a mixture of Red Bull and Mountain Dew that she would give to 6-year-old Alana before pageants to keep her like energized. So I think a lot of when you hear stories about how she was a nightmare or how she was, I think her mum did like,
she was on drugs.
She was on a lot of go-go juice.
Yeah.
And even in like her talking head in this episode, in between all the lines I just read to you, like they just have like B-roll footage of her just like bouncing in her chair. Like she can't, like she's just her mum's clearly given her go-go juice before even filming this
little thing.
Because that would help her perform. Obviously, she's going to be so much more entertaining if she's like hyped up and
which I don't think she needed, but
she's not the only, like Toddlers and Tiaras, they're all doing it.
Famous.
Not Red Bull. They're normally like Pixie sticks.
And so give them a lot of like sugar.
Yeah.
I mean, it really shocked people that June was willing to not only like be filmed on camera giving it to her, but wasn't ashamed of it. Like she was just, when she was criticized for it, she was like, there are worse things I could give her, like alcohol.
Like all you people giving your 6-year-olds alcohol.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. Yeah, I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. So I'll play this.
So Mama June's like an A-class parent.
Oh, yeah.
She's
so this
is
the first like minute or so.
Also, in this era, I think Mama June was like 30.
Yeah.
It's so weird
nuts
to me now.
So I'll play you this like first. This is literally their first appearance on television.
Mom. No, don't throw me no.
Cute, happy families.
Oh, no. I'm June. I'm known as the Coupon Queen, and my daughter Alana is known as the Diva Beauty Queen. Watch this. I'm gonna get the tool paper now.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all ain't got me.
Sweet.
The house does look quite nice.
Yeah.
I'm Alana. I'm 6 and I'm a beauty queen.
I love like the head roll.
Then they're gonna be me, honey, boo boo, child.
I know.
She's great.
She instantly
I
iconic.
do pageant.
Look at her. Look at her go. This is so great. Just some little go-go juice.
Oh, that's so great.
Isn't it?
Wow, the house is it's like a hoarder's like prepping.
Coupon queen.
Like laundry detergents right there.
Wow.
The stuff you wash your dishes
It's like a
with.
supermarket.
Over here you got deodorants, which are out of line. I am what they call an extreme couponer, and I am proud of it. The reason why I coupon is because pageants are fairly expensive. I would say altogether in pageantry, we have spent about $8,000-9,000, but that's okay. I've saved it all with my coupons.
Yeah.
Careful with it.
Like to win because I want to win money.
You ready for the hotel? We ain't got a swimming pool, unfortunately, this time. Come here.
$1 makes me holler, honey, boo boo.
That's when you hear the producers laughing and like. So that was literally their very first minute and a half that they were ever on TV, and they seem sweet.
Yeah.
It's also the juxtaposition of that with like the rest of, I can't remember who else is in that episode, but like generally
Just
it's
snooty.
like fancy, and they're like, we hired a bus and we've had her face printed on the side.
Yeah.
And you know, like it's very
Yes.
wanky.
Yes.
And then there's just this kid like, bleh!
It's
And the mom's
very-
like, I spent $8,000 or $9,000, which is okay. But then the other parents are like, this dress only cost $25,000.
Yeah.
I don't think she's going to win in it. We should have gone full glitz.
Yeah, we should have gone
Yeah.
full. It's very much like Kirsten Dunst versus what's her name in Drop Dead Gorgeous. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've never seen
Alison
Drop Dead
Janney.
Gorgeous.
What? What?
Watch party. Cancel the recording.
What?
I've never seen Drop Dead Gorgeous.
It is one of my favorite movies of all
Do you know how many
time.
references you've been inadvertently missing?
Yeah, that like, no wonder you look at me with a blank stare so much.
89% of
No
her
wonder like
personality is
so
Honey
much of
Boo Boo
our
and
so much of our relationship is me wondering if you understood what I just said.
That look where you just kind of dissociate.
That's
just
why
so
I'm
searching
missing
for
all
missing
the
references.
Drop Dead
In
Gorgeous
File not
references.
found.
In
Yeah.
Drop Dead Gorgeous, Kirsten Dunst is like a trailer trash girl who's really sweet and talented, and she enters this beauty pageant and she doesn't have much money, and the rich girl in the town is Denise Richards, who is very much like grew up a pageant girl. So anyway, it's kind of that vibe, and they seem like a really sweet family. Like they seem laid back and real in a way that you don't often see families on Toddlers and Tiaras. And the producers said later they immediately knew filming that episode, like this family is something. This girl on her own is something, but the whole family together, there's something here. There was they had a dynamic unlike anything else on TV at the time. And they were, you know, what you would call, I guess, like trailer trash or like rednecks. But the thing was, like, they owned that. Like, one of their favorite sayings, the whole family, was, "You better redneck nice." Like, they were really proud of who they were, and they, you know, they were poor, and there were a lot of them, and they were mostly like quite overweight, and they lived in McIntyre, Georgia, which is in the South. And it's kind of like if you looked up trailer trash or rednecks in the dictionary, like it's a picture of them.
But they also seem quite kind of savvy in terms of branding themselves and kind of coming with these
I think Mama June's always been very, very
Yeah.
savvy, and they were completely unapologetic about this identity for themselves. Like they, like Hayley said before, they leaned into it. They leaned into like Alana very quickly after this first episode made one of her like little shtick routines to lift up her shirt and like grab her belly fat because it made everyone go, ah! And like, you know, she was being trained from when she was a 6-year-old to like lean into what people loved about the family and what made them unique. And so the producers wanted to make a show with them straight away, and it happened very quickly. So that episode of Toddlers and Tiaras aired in 2012, and the first episode of Here Comes Honey Boo Boo premiered on August 8, 2012. So it was really, they got them in there like, they were like, no time to waste. This is ching, ching, like ching, 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 dollars. And it was an instant success, this show, because like moments of hers from Toddlers and Tiaras had gone viral, which was enough to sort of be like, remember the girl that said, "$1 makes me holler, honey boo boo child"? Well, this is her whole family, and they've got a show. So the premiere had over 2 million viewers, and they averaged over 2 million viewers per episode, which for TLC was their highest rated show ever.
I believe first show intro to contain a fart.
Yeah, there's a fart.
Okay,
they
nice.
all pose like in front of the camera in the final bit where it says like, "Here comes Honey Boo Boo," and there's a big fart, and everyone's like, "Mama," and she's like, "Sorry." Like they're leaning. It's very much like the real life family from Roseanne or something. Do you know what I mean? Which hadn't been on TV in ages. So and the show was kind of about. Pageants were a little bit a part of it, but it was mainly just about this working class family from, you know, rural Georgia, like living their lives, couponing and all of that. So I will introduce you to the whole family. So there's June Shannon, Mama June. She's Alana's mother, and she's kind of portrayed as like this savvy coupon clipping mom who she's very proud of the fact she can feed her family on $80 a week.
Yeah.
And she's legally blind because she had a bunch of like accidents with her eyes. She can see, but like quite famously in the show, whenever she looks at her phone, she does this. This is not useful to a podcast, but for you guys, she does this.
Audio medium. She's squinting and holding her
looking at the
phone really close.
Yes. So she has a lot of problems with her sight. She's, you know, there was a lot of talk at the time about her weight, which extended to what she fed the family. Their favorite dish, very famously, was something called Chickadee, which is basically just butter and pasta and tomato sauce.
Yummy.
Yeah, I know.
Yummy.
I know.
And they loved it.
Was there an element of like poverty porn to it as well?
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So there's Mike Thompson, who everyone calls Sugar Bear. He's Alana's dad, and he works in a chalk mine. And chalk mine.
I
didn't know you mined
Neither
chalk.
did I.
I thought you made. Okay, wow. Like,
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, the more you
I'm
know.
sure it's not like blackboard chalk. I'm sure there's something else to it.
I'm going to do a Just the Gist mini.
What the fuck is chalk?
This is like, so Sugar Bear's like very quiet, soft-spoken. He seems very overwhelmed by like the family around him. He's only the dad to Alana though. She has three older half sisters who all have different dads.
Yeah.
There's Anna, the oldest, who everyone calls Chickadee. She's just given birth to her own daughter. I think she's 17 or 18. The father's just not in the picture, not really meant. It's like, you know, we're not talking about that, but she's just there with a baby. And then there's...
And she has 3 thumbs.
Oh, yeah, and Chickadee has 3 thumbs.
No, Caitlin, the baby.
Oh, the baby,
has
sorry.
3 thumbs. Yeah. Where are these thumbs? Where's the extra thumb?
There's one double thumb.
Yeah, there's a double thumb, and then one hand is normal and the other hand is a double thumb.
So it has like 6 digits.
Yeah, so like this, see what I mean when it's like this is what you would say as a redneck fan. Like the producers would have just been like salivating at all of this. So then there's Jessica who goes by Chubbs, and she's a very quiet one in all of this and actually ends up being the first person in the family to graduate high school and go to college. And then there's Lauren, who everyone calls Pumpkin. She's the one who's closest to Alana and she's very feisty. Also what they say about Pumpkin in the first episode is that she's a bit off because she was playing a video game once and the house got struck by lightning and they think that the lightning went through the video game and like electrocuted her. And Mama June says she's never been the same since she got her brain fried. So we have like a 17-year-old with a baby with 3 thumbs. We have a girl who's apparently mentally not quite there because her brain's been fried. And they were all called Chubbs and Chickadee and Pumpkin and all.
This is a producer's wet dream.
Yes,
this is
you
amazing.
can see why this show was so popular. Like, I personally loved the show. Like, I watched it and what I saw was, like, as someone who had a shitty childhood, I saw just, like, a really warm, loving family who all seemed to really care for each other and loved being around each other. And one of my favorite lines in the whole show is when they're talking about Alana's uncle, so Sugar Bear's brother, and he's called Uncle Poodle, and he's gay. And they're talking a bit about how
Uncle Poodle is gay.
I wonder why they called him Uncle Poodle. They're talking about, you know, they talk with him about how hard it is to be a gay man in the South, like even in 2012, and the whole family like loves and accepts him. And they cut to Alana shrugging, and she just says, everybody's a little gay. Like, it's just, it's so lovely.
That's so beautiful. Yeah,
like everybody's a little gay. You know, and I remember in the office talking about how much I love this show, and there was a big debate like at a morning meeting once about whether or not like this family was, I don't want to use the word like abusive, but like I remember there being an attitude at the time that like this was not a healthy family dynamic. And I think that a lot of that came down to the weight, but it was also just like, we are watching exploitative poverty porn. And I was like, no, I just think we're watching a real family who love each other and are different to you, but it doesn't seem like they're not in on the joke. Like they seem very proud of who they are. Yeah. Like, yes, we're watching rednecks and people who are poor, but they say, yeah, we're rednecks and we're poor. Yeah. You better redneck nice.
Because I feel like you wanted to be friends with them and like hang out with them. You wouldn't have been like, oh, you know, like.
I mean, some people were. I wanted to be friends with them and hang out with them. Yeah. There are a lot of people in the office at that time who were like, ugh. So the show did attract a lot of criticism. Many critics accused TLC of exploiting the family and turning their poverty into entertainment, which I at the time thought was kind of offensive to their intelligence and savviness in doing this. Like, because June seemed very smart and knew what she was doing in terms of like how they were presenting, like they were kind of branding themselves before they understood what that was.
Yeah, like poor people shouldn't be on television because they're poor
idiots and they don't get it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Which I think
we shouldn't look at them.
Yeah, which I think is like kind of offensive in itself. There was also a Hollywood Reporter article at the time reviewing the first episode of the show, called it horrifying, said it was exploitation squared. TV Guide said the show had lowered the TV bar to new depths. And like I found that interesting at the time because I was like, lowered the TV bar to new depths and horrifying. these are people who are really proud of who they are. And the show is quite lovely the first season. They just hang out and do some pageant stuff, but mostly just hang out as a family and do other stuff. They go to a big like mudslide party in town once. Like, I'm like, you're saying that their way of life is horrifying.
Yeah, you're actually producing the content that's
that's what
damaging.
I thought was, but that was my attitude about it at the time. I really stood up for this show at the time. A lot of people, though, just thought that, it was middle-class viewers viewing in to feel superior to the family, which I think maybe people were, because there was they were like the butt of a lot of late-night jokes and stuff at the time. But, like, I think they were in on the joke. They were proud of who they were. And they, like, a lot of critics were arguing the opposite of all the people who hated it, and they were saying, you know, they're making good money from being themselves on television. There was a review in the Los Angeles Times at the time that wrote that the family seemed genuinely happy and there was no true dysfunction here, save for the beauty pageant stuff, really. Like, that was the thing. I think that's what I found interesting when we would debate about it in the office at the time. The people who didn't like it, there was this attitude that it was an incredibly dysfunctional family that we were celebrating. And I was like, I know dysfunctional families. This is not a dysfunctional. Like, what we're seeing, they're poor and they don't eat as well as you would like, and they're not what you would consider healthy, and the 17-year-old has a baby blood. But this is not. That says a lot about what you consider dysfunctional.
Exactly.
Because to me, they just seem like a very loving, warm family.
They spend so much time together.
Yeah.
And like, you know, there's other families in Toddlers and Tiaras where the kids barely know their own parents. Like,
exactly. So the cultural divide was pretty big and fascinating at the time. Mainly people who saw it as heartwarming and authentic versus the people who saw it as deeply problematic. But like, audiences were tuning in. It was just a huge, huge hit, a cultural phenomenon. Behind the scenes, though, things weren't good.
No.
I know. And this is why, like, I so steadfastly stood up for this show. I wrote an article about it at the time about saying everything I just said. Just because just because they're poor and blah, blah, blah doesn't mean they're dysfunctional.
Do you want to look into the camera and apologise?
They were very dysfunctional.
Did you want to do like a Tyra Banks, like, we were all rooting for you?
They were very dysfunctional. But I will, to be fair to me, not.
Oh, we must. Yeah. We must.
Not like it wasn't. You wouldn't know that from what you had seen on the, like, people who thought they were dysfunctional just from watching that first series. I don't think that was there. There was entirely other stuff going on behind the scenes.
So they were still wrong. Is really what we need to take
exactly
away from that.
I'm never wrong. Is basically the point of all of that. So behind the scenes weren't great. I want to say that things started to fall apart pretty quickly, but I'm not sure they were ever really.
Oh, really?
Together. I mean, they're only filming, like, you know, filming each season takes about 3 months. The first season ended with June and Sugar Bear getting, I think it was the first season or maybe the second, ends with them having like a wedding ceremony in which she wears a camouflage dress.
Camouflage.
Like a dress.
Like
a camo wedding dress. A camo wedding dress.
It's very slimming, I hear.
Completely invisible. She was just ahead.
But even though they did that big ceremony, their relationship was kind of deteriorating. Apparently he cheated on her a lot, but I mean, you know, for a guy with no teeth, good for him. Oh yeah, he has no teeth. Like the only man in it all has not a tooth in his head. They filmed 4 seasons of the show in 2 years. So in 2014, they have finished filming season 4 and they've started filming season 5. So because the show was a hit and TV executives were just like,
she ain't gonna be young cute forever.
Exactly, keep making them. And they're they've started filming season 5 in 2014. And this is the trigger warning we mentioned at the start of the episode. This is where we don't go into any detail here, but things equal bad here in terms of some child sex abuse conversation. Again, without any detail. June leaves Sugar Bear in 2014 because she finds out that a boyfriend she had years ago has just been released from prison after 10 years. And she wants to go back to this man now that he's out. The awful thing about this, though, was that this man had been in prison for 10 years for child molestation.
Is he one of the other girls' dads?
No.
No, okay, yeah.
It does come out, though, that one of the children he had molested was June's own daughter, Anna, Chickadee.
And that's why he was in prison?
No. So the thing that happened was, this is really awful. So he had molested her and she had gone to her grandparent. She'd gone to June and told her, and June didn't believe her. June didn't believe her because they were dating at the time, June and this guy. She went to her grandparents, Chickadee, and told them. And so they went to the police, but June essentially Anna ended up, she was 8 years old, didn't end up wanting to testify because June was like, he didn't do this, she's lying, blah, blah. And I think, she was just a little kid who probably didn't want to.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And so she didn't, but he got arrested anyway because there was another girl. He goes to prison for 10 years for officially abusing another person, but he had also molested Anna, something that June always said she didn't believe. Anna lives with her grandparents from that point on. And only it comes out later, really comes back to live with the family because June wants her there for the show, and the producers wanted her there for the show with her little 3-thumbed baby. It was interesting television to have a 17-year-old who just had a baby.
With 3 thumbs. I mean, yeah.
You could probably talk her into it by they were all getting paid for this and that kind of thing. So, it's just really awful. So, it was bad enough when reports came out that Mama June was dating someone who just got released from prison for 10 years because of child molestation. But when Anna came forward and said, and I was one of the children he molested, the backlash was immediate.
Yeah.
TLC cancelled Here Comes Honey Boo Boo within 24 hours of the story breaking. The network said they were concerned about the health and welfare of the children, which was obviously the right call. According to people who worked on the show, the producers had always felt really protective of the girls because, they'd known them for over 2 years now, but they also weren't sure how much they could intervene in the family's personal life, and have said in the years since that they did see quite a lot of dysfunction that didn't end up on camera because it didn't really work for
the narrative they're trying to put out there.
In an interview on a podcast she did recently called Barely Famous, I think because the host was also on a reality show briefly or something. It's a great interview with Alana, actually, that she did only about a month ago. She talks about how close she had been with the producers of her reality shows over the years. And she said, I've been working with the same production company since I was 6 years old. These people have literally watched me grow up. They know me better than most people in my life. So, there was a close relationship there. June denies that she's having a relationship with this man because, I think this is her first taste of, they were kind of, besides people calling them rednecks, which didn't bother them, or saying it was poverty porn or whatever, they were universally loved. So this was her first taste of
indefensible criticism.
Well, yeah, getting really strong criticism from the public. So her first instinct is to lie. And she's like, no, I'm not with this man. We had dated years ago, but obviously then he went to prison, and when he got out, he came and saw me. I didn't know, and then that was it. But then she was confronted in interviews with footage TMZ had got of her holding hands with him and looking at houses to buy in the area. She was like, they're photoshopped, and then Uncle Poodle came forward with evidence that she was lying. He had trust the gay guy to come with receipts when stuff like this happens. He had photos, and he had proof of trips they'd taken together since this guy had gotten out of prison. It then comes to light in the mess of all of this that Pumpkin's father had also been a convicted child molester, that when June dated him and got pregnant with Pumpkin, she knew that so it was, the show was over. It was all just a mess. It was awful. It was how could this woman do this, even though she was yes, fine, I dated, we broke up, I'm sorry, like, blah, blah. It was like she couldn't put that lid back on that box. It was like, how could you do this to your...
Imagine not believing your child though. Like just...
And imagine even if your child wasn't involved in any of it, why are you dating not one but two?
Oh.
I mean, this is just the gist, so we won't go into it, but there is in June's history just a lot of, it's not pretty. So not that it's an excuse, but like it's you can we don't need to go into it in just the gist, but there's a whole history for her there. So even though it all collapsed and it was kind of like, I remember at the time being like, damn it.
Why do the child molesters have to ruin
everything? It didn't take long though, and don't underestimate the power of good ratings and TV executives wanting to make money off them.
Back.
Because in 2017, so like literally just over 2 years later, June, she got a chance with a new show on a channel called WeTV, and it was called Mama June from Not to How.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and she essentially
had a makeover.
Yeah, she had weight loss surgery.
Like the Swan kind of
lost a lot
situation.
It was like an episode of the Swan.
It was kind of like that. She lost a lot of weight and
way too white teeth.
Got like her teeth fixed, got like skin removal surgery,
her
got
neck
like
crust
her neck crust cleaned out, like
Can I ask what
fashion.
What is neck crust?
So basically she had so many folds in her neck that she just didn't really clean that
she'd get neck crust.
I don't know.
dandruff.
Just the phrase neck crust has just really
But she would laugh about
with
it.
me and disturbed me.
And sometimes she would eat it.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did. Like sometimes she'd just be like,
No,
whatever.
no.
It was anyway.
I was hanging on by a thread just knowing that neck crust existed. I'm gonna.
So
I would have bought a little Perspex jar.
No, stop, shut up.
neck
No,
crust.
too much. People are turning off. People are turning off. Gross. So yeah, the premise from Mama June from Not to How is that she's undergone this massive transformation, and they're like helping her to become
a better person
from not to hot.
Oh, no,
and
they don't care about her personality.
I remember being hugely shocked at the time that it seemed to just sort of fade into the background that she had dated like a child molester. Like but I think a lot of people didn't know, and I guess just the premise of her getting hot was like unmissable TV. The show was a hit.
Yeah.
Like the show was a hit. It was also though supposed to be her redemption story. So it was like she would talk a lot about her trauma. She would talk about how she was incredibly apologetic for what had happened. She wanted to rebuild her relationships with her daughters, which hadn't been great since what happened.
And she wasn't dating this child.
No. She had dropped him when as soon as she realized, this is bad for my career and life, she dropped him.
Yeah, the optics on this one are not
the
great.
optics aren't great on dating a convicted child molester. And so
oh God.
And that's all of the talk about
CSA.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's now that. So the show was kind of just following not just her makeover story, but her just, trying to get back to the dynamics that they had in Here Comes Honey Boo Boo, really, which that was kind of the concept of the show. Like it was really just packaging Here Comes Honey Boo Boo in something else to try and get it back on air.
Yeah, and try and deal with all the yucky, like, poor bits and, she's fat. We don't want that on TV.
Yeah.
And, like, they've got money now.
And so she does have, like, this big makeover and, she says she's feeling good or whatever. But as often happens with people who I think a lot of their food issues maybe have some kind of base in addiction, when she couldn't eat anymore, she very quickly turned to drugs. And so producers have said like things were falling apart behind the scenes, like it wasn't great while they were shooting from Not to Hot. But when she was hot, she got herself a boyfriend called Gino.
What was wrong with Gino?
I remember at the time, nothing like...
He had only two thumbs.
Well, he had all his teeth and he had the right amount of fingers and toes, which was... But I remember at the time, it would just pop up in gossip, like media, that she she wasn't looking good. They weren't looking good. Her and Gino were like always around in random places, like in Las Vegas at 3 a.m. and it was like, oh, something June's on a downward spiral here. And then in March of 2019, so about a year after From Not to Hot started, June and Gino were arrested for possession of crack cocaine and a whole lot of other drug paraphernalia in like a really skeezy hotel room. June admits at this time that she had a really serious drug addiction, and she and Gino were spending like close to $10,000 a day on drugs.
I was so devastated when this broke.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, like in my heart, I was like, no, no, not June. Like,
yeah.
What?
So
where was they getting all this money from though? Because they wouldn't have made that much money from the TV shows to sustain a $10,000 a day habit.
Well, they were.
Like the show was big.
Yeah. And also there was so much outcry about all the poverty porn stuff last time that people really dove into how much money they were getting and, you know, wanted receipts, like literal receipts, like how much are you paying them? Are you paying them fairly and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So when Here Comes Honey Boo Boo became a hit, they were getting good money. And remember that she was getting all the money for any of the kids who were under 18.
Oh, no.
And then they were doing From Not to Hot, so they were also all getting paid again. And then Alana also did like extra appearances and stuff that she, you know, so she was essentially just, I think it was that the money wasn't going anywhere. Like she sold their house at one point and was spending all of that money as well. It was all really devastating for the family and did get documented on TV because they were filming a reality show at the time. Alana was like about a teenager at this point, a young teenager, and she ended up having to go and live with Pumpkin. Pumpkin was only 19 at this point. She had her own 2 young children. And so then the show, rather than take it off air and like let this family get the help they needed or June get the help or just like not have this on TV while all this is happening, the show gets rebranded as Mama June Family Crisis. And that show basically documents the family just falling apart in real time because June like refuses to admit to the drug addiction, refuses to stop, like won't leave Gino, who seems really dodgy, and there's quite a lot of heartbreaking stuff to watch. Like at the time, I think she went on like, they went on Dr. Phil, they went on Dr. Drew, they were on like Celebrity Rehab, like and so you were seeing June not looking great in a lot of TV footage, and also Alana, like there was a lot of like, you know, intervention episodes where like the girls are crying and Alana's crying and she's refusing to sort of admit to any wrongdoing. And there's one therapy session, because of course their therapy sessions are being filmed for Family Crisis. Alana breaks down talking about how like the last few years her mother had missed all these important events in her life, and the therapist and June just kind of, I mean, I got upset like researching this episode because I was like, after the first show got cancelled, it kind of dropped off my radar. I didn't watch any of this extra stuff. I was just like, oh, ew. And then I heard she got arrested and I was like, oh, God, well, I guess that's all over. I didn't even realize they were still making a show after she got arrested. But when I watched footage from some of these episodes to research this, I found it very upsetting as someone who had like an addict mother who was quite selfish, never take any accountability or admit to any wrongdoing. And that's what June does. Like she just doesn't seem to admit to anything or take any accountability for anything. And at one point during a therapy session, the therapist says to June, like, you should hug your daughter right now. And Alana says, like, my mother hasn't hugged me in years.
So sad.
And that's like what I loved about the show. I was like, that seems like a mum who will always give you such a good hug. And then it's like, oh.
That's why I was so devastated.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not the Mama June that I signed up for.
I mean, I think that was Mama June though. Yeah. It was actually who Mama June was.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, is this a situation where like this is why we don't feed the animals, or was this family going to go down this path anyway?
No, I think the former. Yeah. Because I think the money and the attention and everything kind of, as it tends to do, just magnifies whatever. It's like putting on the mask.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a combination of both. In the research I did for this, it seems like June was quite a selfish mother, like self-absorbed kind of mother who did like care a lot more about her own needs than those of her children. Maybe it's just that I'm sensitive to that, and so seeing that in it because of my background. But to me, that's kind of who she was even way back at the start.
Yeah.
So and then it just got worse.
Then
it got worse, I think. So the public reaction to June during this period was like really harsh. There were a lot of people who hadn't realized the dating thing with the guy, and they were just all of a sudden it just popped up in the news, like June Shannon's mugshot after she got arrested for crack cocaine, and everyone was like, oh, the honey boo boo mom, like what? And so then she was getting a lot of shit for failing her kids. A lot of critics were pointing out that she was prioritizing her addiction and her relationships with men over her daughter's well-being. People were calling for the show to be cancelled again, saying it may not have been sort of exploitative viewing at the start, but it certainly is now. She eventually goes to rehab though and gets sober. I think I was watching an interview with her the other day. I think it was around 2019, 2020. She says she's been sober since then. She says. She met a man in rehab called Justin Stroud, and they got married in 2022.
Oh, what did she wear?
Good question. I just didn't care enough about her wedding to Google image that
after
one.
The most iconic wedding look of all time.
Because I feel like she would have like sold the pictures to someone as well. Like she would have monetized that as much as she would.
No, it was much more traditional, and the episode was, as it tends to always seem to be with her, the wedding was a big televised like part of the show that was still going.
So the show's still going.
And it was then, and it was the first time since she had done a lot of awful things that all the daughters came together to be her bridesmaids, which to me just screams like her selfishness making them do that for TV. But anyway.
Probably offered to pay them money that she never gave them.
Well, yeah. So the family crisis is now like Mama June family crisis. From the wedding onward is now kind of like documenting her recovery and like the family trying to come back together. To me, it really just seemed like reputation rehabilitation for her, and it made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But, like Alana has said in interviews since, they all needed the money.
Yeah.
And so they were all kind of in this situation where the show can't be about just one of them. So they all kind of have to do it. For a while, it did seem like things were getting better. June appeared to be sober. The show sort of went back to just the regular life stuff with the family. Alana started reconciling with her, even though she'd been living with Pumpkin for years. But there was still a lot of issues with June's behaviour that showed she hadn't completely changed. So according to Alana's account of it all in the Lifetime movie that was recently made about her life that she collaborated on, that we'll talk about, June was at this time still very much obsessed with fame, and she felt like Honey Boo Boo, Alana, felt at the time like her mum was only reconciling with her because she needed her on the show. She seemed very jealous when people were only interested in Alana rather than her, or like only interested in her if it was because she was connected to Alana. Like she seemed very much to want fame in her own right. She was really angry at the time when Alana got asked to be on Dancing with the Stars and she wasn't.
I was going to ask what Dancing at the Stars.
Yeah, sorry, Dancing with the Stars.
It's like a knockoff version where they do it in space though.
Alana was asked to be on Dancing with the Stars and June thought it should be both of them, but then they were told it's a kids version of the show, like because Alana was still a teenager. She was still furious, though. In Alana's interview on the Barely Famous podcast, she revealed that during the time in Los Angeles filming Dancing with the Stars, her mother would just disappear for days, leaving her. She was like 13 or so, just in the apartment by herself. She says, "My mama was not involved at all. She would disappear for days while we were in LA filming Dancing with the Stars, leaving me alone in our apartment. I was 13 years old." God. So Alana also appeared on The Masked Singer with June in 2021. They were a duo.
They really covered off every show.
Yeah. I mean, they need the money. They performed as the Beach Ball. So at this point, the family...
Was the two... it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Just the gist. It's just the gist.
I've got so many questions I do. The Beach Ball, I'm going to find later on.
Let the logistical Masked Singer questions go. So the family's still filming Family Crisis at this point, which is about 3 months out of the year to film. And, you know, the show had gone through various iterations and changes depending on where June was at pretty much. So in January of 2023, the families, for people who weren't across these shows, which I wasn't, like I had no idea they were still filming TV, but this story came up in the news, and this is sort of when the family came up in the news for people not still across what they were doing. In 2023, Anna Chickadee was diagnosed with stage 4 adrenal cancer. She was 29 by then and had 2 young daughters, and she died less than a year later. She died in December of 2023. And Alana said that, you know, it was the first time the family all came together because Alana had not really been talking to June. Pumpkin had really not been talking to June because she was the one who had taken custody of Alana. And when Anna died, they all came together. At this point in 2023, Alana was the second person in the family to ever graduate high school. And she's accepted into Regis University in Denver, Colorado, and she wanted to study nursing. And she wasn't doing a lot of, like, the show was on one season a year, and Alana was doing like quite a lot of just social media, like TikTok stuff, you know, updating people on where she was at. She's like, 19, 20 years old or whatever. She doesn't look like a cute little kid anymore. She's very different. She's definitely not, when you think about like the hyperactive, like bouncy, crazy little kid that people said was really bratty and a nightmare, she did not grow up to be like the nightmare you would assume a little kid like that would. She seems incredibly intelligent and considered and smart and kind of thoughtful.
Which is kind of remarkable considering her mum.
I think it helps that she went
in media and all that.
I think it helps she went to live with Pumpkin. So she gets into nursing and she's documenting it all on TikTok, like when she graduated high school, and then she also has this boyfriend that she's with, and then she is applying for university. She's really nervous. She wants to be a neonatal nurse. She wants to work with like little kids. And she gets accepted into university, and when she goes to organize to pay for her tuition, this is when she finds out that Mama June, who's meant to be putting all of her money into what's called a Coogan account, so kids who are performers, their parents are legally required to put a certain percentage of their money into an account that is put aside until they're 18. Her mother had not been putting all the money in. Alana had expected and anticipated off numbers, particularly because she had done Dancing with the Stars and The Masked Singer, that there was going to be over $100,000 in that account. And when she went to access it to pay for university, there was less than $30,000 in there, which was not enough for to pay her tuition. And this is when this story came back on my radar, and I was like, I need to do a Just the Gist on this because I hadn't thought about any of it in years. The last time it came on my radar is when Anna died, and then Alana's literally on TikTok, like in real time, saying to people, I just went to pay my tuition and I found out my mum spent all my money. And so that became this big story. And of course, the confrontation was filmed for Mama June's family crisis.
She's going to pay for university. Like, gosh.
Alana confronts June about where the money has gone. She denies spending it inappropriately. She just keeps saying like, you don't understand how much it costs to raise a family. Like,
you don't understand how much crack costs these days.
$10,000 a day.
Like, this had to go to expenses. And it's like, you haven't raised this family in years. In fact, apparently the only reason she agreed to give up full custody of Alana to Pumpkin is because she found out if you forfeit your parental rights, you don't have to pay child support. So she'd not been paying any child support and she'd been spending all the money.
Also, there's other money for that. Like, you were also paid as talent. Yeah. That's what you spend on your looking after your family.
She refuses to admit it, really. She never really admits to anything.
She's the worst.
Anything like concrete. But her partner, Justin, like her husband at that point, he is the one who forces June to make things right. He's really horrified by it. And Alana has said in interviews that he's actually been a very positive influence on her. He, at the time, June had been telling him it's not true, I didn't spend it.
Yeah.
But he was like, show me the accounts. I want to understand, why is there no money? Like, you need to be honest with me. And he kind of forced her to look through it all and admit, like, yeah, she was like, I spent it.
I smoked it.
Yeah, she was pretty much, I would say, I don't think she's ever outwardly said it all went on drugs, but it was like she didn't manage it well or whatever. After Justin forces June to admit to what she's done, and there's this big sort of confrontation on the show, and they make it into like this big selling point of the show. It was when I realized they still had a show, was when I heard about all this happening, watched Alana's TikToks, and then it was like, the confrontation's going to be on Mama June Family Crisis. And I was like, what? Like, so it kind of puts the show back on the map again, to be honest. And Justin forces June to like give Alana a certain amount of money back. It's not a lot, but it's like some. And she just makes a big joke of it. Like, there's one scene in the show where Alana meets her for lunch to talk about like what they're going to do about the money. And she's like, okay, I've got a surprise for you. And she pulls out like this giant novelty check. And she's like, here's your money, happy. And Alana's like, this isn't a joke.
Yeah.
Like, it's my money and I want to go to university and get away from you. So she's still very much just trying to, I think, reputation rehab. We have this show. In interviews that I've watched with her researching for this, June seems very much to not really take any accountability for much, but also to think that like she very much has the power to change people's minds about who she is. She's very much I watched an interview that she did with Dr. Drew literally like back, it was recently because the latest season of Family Crisis premiered in May. And so she was doing an interview to promote the premiere of that show. And she's very much just talking about how, you know, rehab changed her life. She's all about recovery now. She's all about wanting to help other addicts and like the things you do when you're an addict, like you don't understand, it's a disease, blah, 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 but I'm a different person now. And in that interview were Pumpkin and Chubbs, and they both just seemed there's even one moment because Chubbs has since come out as gay and she has a girlfriend, and like June is like forcing her to talk about it in this interview, like trying to get us, and she's like, you know, we talk, she comes out on the show, like you got to tune into the show, like she's very much like, you know. And I think it's interesting having watched like how devastated and disappointed all the girls were with her, not just because of the drug addiction, but like just a lot of the selfish behavior that would have been there with that addiction or not. But they all need to do the show. So they're all sitting next to each other in this interview with Dr. Drew. Although
so manipulative.
Alana wasn't in that interview because she
was cashing.
She stepped back in other ways. She has a lot more agency now. So she gets the money and she goes to uni. She moves to Colorado with her boyfriend. And she, I think now she's just recently finished her second year of nursing. And earlier this year, she released a Lifetime movie She signed a deal for it, so I'm hoping she got some good money for it. It was made in consultation with her, and she narrates it. It's very interesting because it's like a drama. It's acted as a Lifetime movie. So drama, I don't mean like quality. Yeah. But then it cuts to the narration. Like she's the voiceover narrator, but then it also cuts to interviews with her. Oh. So it's almost like it's framed like a documentary, but the footage they cut to is a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, it's like a dramatization.
Yeah, it's like a reenactment
like the cuts
show.
To her, she's in the shadowy, chair and the spotlights on her. It's like a reenactment show, but of her life. Yeah. So weird.
So that show premiered. That Lifetime movie. It's called I Was Honey Boo Boo. Premiered in May 2025, and it covers her childhood and the family's rise to fame, June's struggles with addiction, and then her sort of journey to trying to step away from them all and make her own life.
They did not spend enough money on it.
No, I mean, it's a Lifetime movie. But I thought it was good.
Where can you watch it on?
I found it on YouTube because
that's where things are.
Yeah, I don't know where you can watch Lifetime stuff in Australia. I did try to find it legally, but
Wait, why did you whisper legally?
I don't know. Anyway, I don't know, guys. But she when interviewed, because she did like quite a bit of press when this came out earlier this year, she said she just wanted to tell her story because a lot of people just remember that little Honey Boo Boo child, Honey Boo Boo child girl, and don't understand like what happened since then, or that like what happened to the family. She's like, there are fans of like Family Crisis, the show. There are people who have watched the shows, all the shows over the years, but a lot of people just remember this one zeitgeisty moment in time and have no idea what happened. And she wanted to sort of take control over her own narrative, she said, of like after years of having her life documented by other people, she wanted to have control. The movie was like pretty well received, not like critically acclaimed, but like in terms
of
Oscars
is it up for?
Yeah, in terms of her story, like it was, I liked it. It was, and she's very like articulate and thoughtful. There are moments you can tell that it's heavily written and she's like reading narration, but there are other moments that are more candid where you can tell she's just giving her thoughts, and she is very thoughtful. The movie does not portray June in a flattering light. And so I think Alana's been very diplomatic in how she's talked about her in interviews, because they do have a relationship again-ish since Anna died. I don't think they have a great one, but they do have one. But if you are going off the Lifetime movie and that is Alana's version of events, she's made out to be a monster in that movie.
I was very relieved about that, actually.
Yeah,
I was worried.
Because I had heard that they had loosely reconciled, and I was like, I wonder if it's going to be... No, but it was the June character in this Lifetime movie is awful.
Wow.
Just selfish.
Yeah.
Self-centered. Always puts her own wants and needs ahead of those of her children. They don't shy away from that at all.
But she probably did. Like, she probably did pull a few punches. Like, she probably didn't make it as bad.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's a Lifetime movie, which is a tame family channel. So it's not, you're not seeing like any kind of confronting or full frontal drug use, or they don't go deeply into any of the men that she dated or, that whole situation. But just even in her incredibly like selfish and kind of surface level relationship with her daughters, and the way they frame it is that she cares more about fame and her own fame and her own like making money for herself, and she cares more about that than any of the girls. Like that is very much how they portray her in this movie. In interviews, Alana said, my mum wasn't thrilled about how she was portrayed, but I told her this was my story to tell and I was going to tell the truth. I mean, how could June have stopped it? Like, and June also needs her on the show. So I find this family dynamic so fascinating that like June, especially because you can tell she's really trying to reputation rehab herself the last couple of years. Like I've recovered and that was addicted June and I'm a different person, and she would not have liked this movie.
But she needs coming
Alana.
Out. She needs Alana because without Alana, she has nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to believe that.
On the interview with Dr. Drew, he asked her what she thought of the movie. She said, I don't think the movie was fair to me. It made me look like a terrible mother. That's not who I am. I've made mistakes, but I love my daughters. So her thing is very much like, I made mistakes because I was an addict.
They always do that. Oh, everybody makes mistakes. Yeah, like normal people mistakes though.
Yeah. So
you know what they should do? They should sit down, Alana and June, and do a podcast where they watch it scene by scene and discuss what's true and what's not.
Mum says really my Lifetime movie is a lie.
Yeah, I mean,
Could you sell it? Could you franchise it out?
I had not realised like all this had happened. And so when I was researching for this episode, I was struck by like how much I saw my mother in all of this. Just the selfishness and the putting yourself first before your children. Like it's very clear that that's the person June is, to me anyway.
Yeah.
So where is everyone now as of today? June told Dr. Drew, this show is what pays the bills for all of us. Without it, I don't know what we'd do. So they're still doing the show. And
really?
Alana has said that she's like built a life for herself in Colorado, that it's really helped to have that physical distance for the first time in her life. She's figured out like what she's in, at university for however many months of the year. She's living there with her boyfriend, and being away from it all, she realized how much she needed boundaries and how she needed to be away from them a lot more. When asked about why she still agrees to appear on the show occasionally, she's not like on it all the time. I think probably a part of her agreed to do it because her family needed it, and like there was probably a lot of pressure on her to do it. But she's very pragmatic in her answer. She says, at the end of the day, it's still income and I'm in college, so I need the money, but I'm very selective about what I'll film and what I won't. I have boundaries now that I didn't have when I was a kid. And she says, the show has evolved. It's different now because I'm an adult. I can say no to things. When I was little, I didn't have a choice. Now I do, and I use that choice. So she's not in it as much as the others because she's off at uni, but she is in it because I think there wouldn't be a show unless she agreed.
But also, like if you're at uni, what, you're going to work in a pub or do a few episodes of a
she
show?
Says in this podcast, the Barely Famous podcast I was listening to, she's like, honestly, it's 3 months a year. And she said, I've been doing it since I was 5 years old. I would feel weird not doing it 3 months a year. She's like, it's what I do. Like, she's like, she goes, I miss it. Like, I miss the producers. A lot of the producers are the same ones who have been around that whole time.
Oh, wow.
And she says she would miss it if she didn't do it, which I found
just regular family time.
Interesting.
For them, really.
Yeah. So as for the rest of them, like I said, June told Dr. Drew it's what pays the bills for them. So June and Pumpkin and Chubbs seem to have more of a close relationship than Alana because she has put some physical distance there and has put boundaries in place. Pumpkin, whose real name is Lauren, by the way.
With a Y.
Yeah. She's now 25 and has... Oh, God, I said 2 children. It says here 4 children.
Whoa.
Oh, my God.
And
recently divorced from her husband, Josh. Still seems like she was mostly the stable one in the family and continues to be. Like, she was the one who took Alana in and she raised Alana, essentially. There's a custody situation with Anna's children, which is really sad.
Yeah.
And this, to me, is another example of June being quite selfish. So... Anna had a second child with her partner who she married not long before she died. And the 2 girls, like her original baby with the 3 thumbs, were extremely close. And after Anna died, the dad of the younger daughter agreed to take them both because it was like he wanted to keep them together. They were sisters. They'd grown up together and loved each other very much. But he was not going to agree to let them be on the show. And June wanted them to be on the show. And so June fought for custody of the older daughter, which technically he has no right to because that's not his biological daughter. And so rather than let the two girls stay together with him and move away and have a peaceful life away from the cameras, June, because of biological connection, she got custody of the older daughter. And so the two daughters were separated and June now has custody of her. Alana said in an interview, it's really sad because Kylie and Caitlin, that's their names, were always together and now they're separated. Michael just took Kylie and moved to Alabama and we don't really have contact with her anymore. It's heartbreaking because those girls were so close. Alana said in an interview I listened to, she hasn't talked to Kylie in months and months and months and months.
So bad.
Yeah.
She really just treats them like commodities.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Yeah. Jessica Chubbs, she's in a relationship with a woman, seems really happy. She's 28. She graduated college, the first person in the family to do so. And like I said, is just a sort of quiet side character in the show. June is 46 now, married to that Justin guy who Alana says she thinks is a good influence on her. She claims to be sober. She claims to have been sober for many years. I think she's very much relying on the income from Mama June Family Crisis. I'm not sure how well the show does. I mean, I've seen it a lot online the last month, but that's because I've been researching for this. So I've gamed my algorithm. But I think also, the story about the money and the college and then the Lifetime movie, it has all actually, the family has been in the news again. And to be honest with a lot of people going, they still have a show. Sugar Bear, Alana says she can't remember the last time she talked to him. She hasn't talked to him she says, I can't even remember how long it's been, maybe a decade. When pressed about whether she missed having a relationship with her dad, she said, you can't miss something you never really had.
Oh, sweet pea.
And when asked in the Barely Famous interview, which again, it's where I got most of these quotes from Alana from, you really should listen to it because she's just, we'll obviously put the link in the show notes. She's very eloquent and thoughtful in this interview and it's really interesting.
Yeah, she seems very calm and steady.
Yeah, she does. And just the way she talks about her mother, she says that they've reconciled, but I think I'm not sure how much, how healthy that relationship is, or you can tell she's being very diplomatic in the way she's talking about her mum on this show. And like I said, you only have to look to the Lifetime movie, which is her version of events, to see what she thinks of her mother. She says on the show, though, she gets so excited when she talks about nursing. It is so lovely. She just, the host asks her, do you want to, you're famous or do you want to do other things? And she's just kind of I don't know. We do the show 3 months of the year. But she just goes on and on about nursing. She loves it. And she says when asked why she decided to be a nurse, she says, I just kind of seen how big of an impact the nurses had on. I'll do it normally. As soon as I saw I just kind of seen, I was like, you have to say that in there. I just kind of seen.
I just kind of
seen how big of an impact the nurses had on Anna's journey and how much of an impact they had on our journey just taking it with her. So I really want to be that nurse one day. Oh. She had started off really wanting to do neonatal nursing, but she found it quite intense and confronting. So now she says she's her focusing on pediatrics.
Yeah.
And doing really well. She posted the other day on socials that she just finished her second year.
Yeah.
And she's acing it. Aww. And she's just really excited about becoming a nurse.
Ever.
Yeah, she would be such a good peds nurse, wouldn't she? She'd be great.
It's so remarkable that she's having just a normal life after all this. That's incredible.
Yeah. It's remarkable how self-aware she is about her situation, it's also remarkable how willing she is to give her mother some grace. Like the fact that she gives her any at all, I think, is remarkable. And I think she probably does understand that they need her for income. But she really seems to recognize the dysfunction in like the family and what's gone on. She's like very thoughtful and reflective about what her life has been like since she was on TV. And she just said, you know, the Lifetime movie coming out was just her way of saying like, I'm finally telling my story my way. And she'll, you know, do some occasional appearances in whatever reality show her mother seems to be shilling at any given point in time. But mostly she's just excited about being a nurse, and also said she wouldn't mind staying in Colorado. She likes it there and she likes the distance. Great. She seems to be in a really happy relationship, and she's 20 years old. Like, she's only 20.
Crazy.
And that's just the gist of Here Comes Honey Boo Boo.
Wow.
I'm so happy that the current ending is so lovely for her.
Yeah, currently.
Because it could have been, obviously, horrendous.
Yeah,
so
currently.
It's
like,
so nice that
it seems like she has come out of it with just a really good head on her shoulders.
Yeah.
It seems like all the daughters seem that way. I think it seems like June's the one who sucks.
An outlier.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of like producers around them rallying, trying to be a bit
I
more of
think
a
so.
positive influence.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
Wow. I didn't realize that they had all these lives and there was still a television show going on.
I didn't
That's insane.
I watched from not to hot.
Yeah.
But that nothing from that. I didn't even know there was anything from that.
Yeah.
Wild.
I whenever it's popped up in the news, like I remember June getting arrested for drugs and being like, oh God. And then I remember when Anna died, and then I remember seeing that she spent all her money and she can't go to college, and then it was researching this. I was like, there's been shows they've been filming reality shows the whole time.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Wild.
I mean, I think not only do her daughters give her a lot more grace than I think she deserves, I'm shocked that the public don't take issue with her still being on TV. But I mean, she is quite cleverly pushing that whole, I was an addict, I was whatever, I've made mistakes, but I'm rebuilding and blah, 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 blah. You weren't an addict when you were dating those dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep, that's that one.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to watch it all now.
It lovely and funny in points, but also oof.
Yeah. Shocking in points.
Yeah, really shocking. Okay, cool. That was that.
Thanks
you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Just the Gist, a Just the Network production. Executive produced and hosted by me, Rosie Waterland. Produced and edited by James Joseph, with additional production support from JTG team Kate Lieber and Hayley Stavely, and Acast legends Guy Scott Wilson and Simon McDermott. Looking for breaking news? It drops on the Just the Gist Patreon every Tuesday, along with a whole lot of other bonus audio, video, and behind-the-scenes content, which you can access for just $1, $1 a week by clicking the link in the show notes or searching Just the Gist Podcast on Patreon. Follow Just the Gist on Instagram and TikTok at Just the Gist Podcast, and watch the video version of every episode on our YouTube channel, also at, funnily enough, Just the Gist Podcast. Follow Rosie, that's me, in all of the places at Rosie Waterland. Want to give us a suggestion? Tell Rosie to stop singing so much? Email us at hello@justthegist.com.au. Thank you, as always, for listening. Now go say something impressive at a dinner party. Bye.